All right, so welcome to another rapid fire business story of the week. This is part of our rapid fire series, and today we have an incredible guest with us, someone who's achieved extraordinary success and is here to share their unique business journey with you. We're excited to hear their insights, so let's welcome them to the show. All right, so as this is our rapid fire series, we've got 1 minute or less to answer each question. So, in a minute or less, give us the elevator pitch to your story and your life. Go.
I'm Brian Smith. I'm the founder of Strategy Ladders. I am a lifelong entrepreneur and recovering investment banker. Over the last 10 years, I've worked with over 1,500 founders, helping them scale and grow their business, ultimately helping dozens sell their business. And over the last 3.5 years building Strategy Ladders, what we've done is shift our focus from working with really anyone who wants to grow their business to focus on B2B service businesses. And the reason for that is what we did is assess the market and realize that B2B service businesses are some of the simplest to scale and grow if you know what you're doing. And so we've taken literally decades of experience across everyone on our team and focus it in on helping a section of the market that has incredibly high growth potential.
So that's fascinating, and I would love to dig a little bit deeper. So tell us a bit more about what you're working on today that you're most passionate about and believe will have the biggest impact.
Absolutely. So Strategy Ladders exists for one reason, and that is to help founders free themselves from their business. So we look at freeing them from sales, operations, and then ultimately management of their business. And what we've seen in the market is, you've probably seen in the consulting world, there was a big explosion of consulting post-COVID, but the challenge when you're working with smaller businesses under 20 million is as soon as you solve one problem, you create a new one. So what we've done is actually integrate basically all of the core business services that a B2B service business needs to scale and grow into the same entity. And so what this allows us to do is to work with founders who are extraordinarily fixed-minded in what they believe can be done with a B2B service business, and help them turn 20% growth rates into 5 to 8x year-over-year growth rates by being able to solve multiple problems in very rapid succession with them. And increasing that speed is one of the things that I'm most passionate about.
So this next question is one that every entrepreneur has dealt with. Tell us about a time where you failed. We often say failure is the first step to success. So think about a time where you failed in the past. What happened? What did you learn from it?
Well, having been a full-time entrepreneur for the last 17 years, I've failed more times than I can count. And I think you get to a point where you don't even really consider them failures any longer. I'll give an example that occurred just prior to starting this business. So when COVID hit, I was actually working with experiential marketing companies. And so I went from a very healthy consulting business to, by April 1st, 2020, having zero income coming in, because we had what we called winterized each one of these businesses, basically shutting them down until we knew what was going to happen. So then I went out and started another agency, actually with some of those clients, and frankly, a few of them had never had partners before. So we quickly scaled to well over $1 million in annual revenue, and realized that it wasn't really scalable without partnership. So yet again, during COVID, I went from having a healthy income to having to separate with that partnership, because it was just not something that was sustainable long term. So I've learned that choosing a variety of industry types that you work with is very important, because you never know when there might be a pandemic, tariffs, or anything that might impact you, as well as just frankly choosing the right partners is huge in your business.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. And we're definitely going to have you back on the show to dive deeper into each of these questions. But for now, one thing that I often say is, and I tell this to my employees and the people who work with me and for me all the time, is that when a tree falls in the forest, if nobody hears it, did that tree actually fall? This brings me to this next question. How do you make sure that all of these amazing projects that you're involved in get noticed? What marketing and advertising methods have worked best for you? You've got a minute. Let's go.
First and foremost, we have our own podcast, the Strategy Ladders podcast, which has been a huge benefit to our business. But when I started our business, I was solo. And so I built up my personal brand. But once we got to the point that I had a team, then what we actually did is something that a lot of people don't do. I shifted the focus away from me and put a lot of resources behind all of my team. So we have copywriters, video editors, and everyone on our team who's actually building the personal brands for everyone else on my team. And that has caused us to have a wide variety of new leads, and frankly allowing us to get into multiple different channels, whether it's LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, or podcasting, which even on the podcast, there's many episodes where I'm not even present on because it's our team running that podcast as well.
That was so awesome. We're definitely going to dive deeper into this on a later show. And as we approach our last question, before we ask people how people can get a hold of you, how people can reach you, learn more about the work that you're doing in your company, and we will include all that information in the show notes, what I wanted to ask you is, what is one piece of advice that you would offer to your younger self, to our audience, and to somebody, especially somebody who's just starting out in the same niche that you're in, but just doesn't know how to start or get going?
If you're just looking at getting going, just do it. And if you're having trouble getting started, put your back against the wall. You will never take the risks that you will take. Let me start this over. There's an echo where I'm hearing myself, so it's actually, I got to see if I can, I don't know why that's happening, but I'm hearing myself over and over, so it's causing my speech to be more difficult. Let me just mute this while I speak. So if you're just starting out and you're trying to motivate yourself to actually get started, the best thing you can do is something that is really counterintuitive. Your parents and everyone else are going to tell you not to do it, but get your back against the wall. You will never take risks like you will take when you are all out of money and almost out of time. And so put your back against the wall and you will take the biggest leaps that you've ever taken. When you have no choice, you act. And what I can recommend to you is remember what that feels like and continue acting in that same way and from that same place with as much disregard for risk as you did at the beginning when your back was against the wall. So if that means you have to quit your job, if that means that you need to move to another country, whatever it is to take that big risk, just do it, because you have to have that motivator and that intrinsic motivation. If you're at all comfortable, you're going to do your best to just stay comfortable instead of doing the uncomfortable thing and actually grow and start.
Amazing stuff. We're going to have to thank our guest today for being a guest on Business Story of the Week. And before we cut out on this episode, I wanted to ask you, how can people get a hold of you? How can people learn more about what you're doing? And how do people engage with you? And we will transcribe this and put it in the show notes for everybody to find.
Well, first thing, you can find our podcast, Strategy Ladders Podcast, on every platform. You can head over to strategyladders.com to learn more about our business, our team, and the services that we offer. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I post every day, S. Brian Smith. That's Brian Smith. Or you can find me on Instagram, S. Brian Smith as well. And be sure to sign up for our newsletter. We send out absolute gold every Saturday morning.
All right, amazing. So you did it. Thank you for being a guest on the show today. Let me tell you what you can expect next. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all this, we're going to cut it into an episode. It will go on the Business Story of the Week page. So make sure you go on Apple Podcasts, review us, like us, go on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to us on Spotify, and this will come out in the next 30 days or so, depending on our workload and how many shows we have. We have had a lot of interest in the show lately, so we may be a little backed up, but the show will get out. In the meanwhile, we will send you clips that feel free to share on social. Also, the full episode, feel free to share any way that you like. The content is yours to share and put out there. We just ask that you mark us and tag us in the notes if you do. So in the copy, put hashtag Business Story of the Week, link back to us. We would appreciate that. And if you think that you might be interested in doing more podcasts, live ones and studio ones, Zoom ones, Riverside ones, there's a whole host of shows that likely, if you did this one and succeeded, you would probably be really great at, and a great way of getting your message out. So your host will talk to you about potentially getting you booked on a strategy call for a Business Story of the Week's sister company, Podcast Cola, or becoming a YouTube influencer through Viral Mirage. Thanks again for being a part of this. Looking forward to working with you.